good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, and welcome back to my channel. I am Fiona, and I want to say congratulations to me because this month marks my 6th year living and working abroad, and I'm just so proud of myself. My journey started in Shanghai, China, and during that time I went through so many different emotions: sadness, happiness, pain, discomfort, confusion, anxiety, just so many different things for so many different reasons. I went through COVID in China as well, because I left China last year, May. So I've been through so much living in China. China for me was difficult from the very beginning to adjust to, and I just kind of got stuck into my job, just working, training, doing the things that I like to do. But it was difficult. It was difficult because the culture is very challenging. The language is challenging. I found China to be a place that there wasn't that vibe, there wasn't that energy from people. I found Chinese people, not all, but many, to be quite cold. I didn't feel that soul in them, and that made it difficult for me. I didn't always see a lot of other black people whilst living there, and so it made every day challenging. And going through COVID, I was on the last plane from Thailand, from Bangkok to China, the last plane, because I remember they had also put out a notice that from midnight no one would be allowed to cross the border into China. And I remember that because I just was so grateful that I got in before the deadline. And that same day they announced it. It wasn't, the day before. It was, China's quite irrational like that. It's just immediate. But then I was also quite sad for people who were on planes. There were people who were on planes coming to China and they never allowed them entry for the entire time. They were absent from their families. So I went through all of this. I dislocated my shoulder in China. I'll put up that vlog. And that was traumatic for me, and I had to really dig deep, not just in that instance, but just dig deep when I needed to kind of comfort myself and I needed to find strength. I had to really tap into myself, because it was difficult. It was difficult being away from friends. It was difficult being away from family, because in China at that time, and for a very long time thereafter, once you leave, you wouldn't have been allowed to come back in. So yeah, I made some Chinese friends there who I'm still in touch with, which is really nice. But I'm grateful for all of those experiences. No matter how traumatic, I was going to say lonely. Yeah, lonely for some. Like for instance, when I, as I said, just mentioned my dislocation. I fell down the stairs and dislocated my shoulder. And I really would have loved to have had a friend or family member with me at that time. Even if they weren't saying a word, just their presence would have been great. I learned to be very patient. I learned lots of skills in that time that I was living overseas in China. I learned about real diversity. I learned about segregation. I just learned so much, and I'm grateful for all of it. I wouldn't live in China again. because it's just not a place that resonates well with me. There are people, expats and black people that live there that like China. I absolutely couldn't tolerate the spitting. It never got it didn't get any easier or comfortable to hear and see people spitting. It didn't get any easier for when people used to, you know, take my picture, film me, point, stare. None of that used to get any easier. I hated that. I hated it. And it's interesting when I've watched vlogs of people who live in China, black people especially who live in China, and they say that they feel like a celebrity. I just don't get that. For me, it was the biggest violation, and I hated every moment. Every day I stepped out of my apartment, somebody was filming me. Somebody was taking a picture. I also had I also had the situations on many occasions. You'd get on the train and people would move away from you, especially during COVID. So it was challenging. I wouldn't change any of it. It made me even stronger, even more resilient. And now I've been here, 7 months in Africa, and Africa has its challenges. Just because I'm black and I'm here on the continent doesn't mean everything is rosy. Far, far, far from it. But I'm proud of myself for taking the leap, trusting myself to go and do the things I wanted to do, go and live abroad, because that's something I've always wanted to do. And I think the only, I don't want to say regret, but I think I'm going to say regret, I'm going to use that word. The only regret that I have is that I didn't do it when it first entered my mind. When I first said to myself, I want to live abroad, I should have just done it. And that's one thing I would definitely tell people. If you want to live abroad, live, work, whatever you want to do, just do it. Don't let time pass you by. Just go and do it. So, I wouldn't change any of it. As I said, I'm here in Africa, Tanzania. I'm going to put a list of the countries that I visited actually whilst I was living in China. And it's just blessings, isn't it, really, that I'm living in Asia and I get to travel pretty much most of Asia. And here I am in Africa, and now I'm going to get the opportunity to travel to certain places in Africa. I'm very, very grateful. I don't take anything for granted. Africa, as I said before I kind of deviated, presents many challenges. There is that culture, the cultural challenge, the language barrier, behavior, different, just different day-to-day challenges. People try and rip you off. But it's part of the experience. And yeah, I would say to anybody, do what you want to do in your life. Don't be scared. There's no need to be scared, because you know what? If you decide that you want to go and live on the other side of the world, do it. And if it doesn't work out, you can go somewhere else, or you can always go back home. So yeah, 6 years this month I have been an expat, and I'm proud of myself. And I hope to share some of my experiences with you guys through my vlogs. And this year's going to be really exciting. I mentioned in my last vlog, I've already got a trip arranged for the 31st of March, which is a surprise trip for me. But I just thought to myself, you know what, I'm just going to go, because I had assumptions about the place that I'm going to. And some of the assumptions are correct, but actually I've never been there before. So I want to go and prove myself wrong, and maybe I'll be proved actually, that I'm wrong about the assumptions that I had. So look out for the 31st of March. But yes, I just wanted to share that. It's my anniversary. Well, the beginning of the month was of the January was my anniversary. And share my joy and my achievement or achievements And yeah, this year is going to be even more wonderful, filled with lots of blessings, filled with lots of opportunities. And again, I'm going to be proud of myself when I celebrate my 7th year living abroad. So I hope that is good motivation for you. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. Thank you for watching.